She sneezes once. She sneezes twice. She'll be me bride when she sneezes thrice.
Hello, welcome back to Ycft. This is actually the first batch that we filmed this year, actually.
Yes.
There could be a chance that something else from this batch comes out first, but this, for those of you who are interested, this is the first one we've recorded in 2025.
Yeah.
And somehow, I convinced Sam to give the Leprechaun another chance.
Happy St. Paddy's, everyone.
Happy St. Paddy's. His name's Lubden, isn't it? That's the actual name of the Leprechaun.
I think so.
Lubden. Again, played by Warwick Davis. So this film came out in 1994. It's just a year after the first one. So we have Leprechaun 2.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we do. He's back.
Unsurprisingly, Jennifer Aniston did not return.
No.
But she was asked.
Yes.
And they offered her apparently like 25 grand to come back, but she wanted to concentrate on Friends. Considering how much she doesn't talk about the first film, I doubt she would have went back. Anyway, even though she has all of the advertising of the box
Yeah.
of the box set,
You do what you can.
we can. So we have a new cast and a new story, and it's initially set 1,000 years ago.
Yes.
So you see him dressed up like Robin Hood, and he has a servant, and he wants to get married.
What's the bride?
And now apparently this film actually did deep into Leprechaun lore.
Apparently so. I can't remember the name of the book, but the book was published 5 years after the movie that deep dived into Irish folklore, and it didn't name check this movie particularly, but apparently the book revealed a lot. It was talking about leprechaun mythology, and it said that every 1,000 years leprechauns seek a bride, or apparently a leprechaun did, a notorious one or a legendary one did marry someone called Bridget, even. So apparently this film, whether, knowingly or not, actually hit the nail on the head when it comes to leprechaun legends and myths. So I don't know what to believe really, but yeah, apparently it's more faithful than we might give it credit for.
You know what? I have to give it credit for that. So he's after a bride. It's something to do with if they sneeze 3 times, then they'll become his bride.
Yeah.
She sneezes once. She sneezes twice. She'll be me bride when she sneezes thrice.
Unless someone says, God bless you.
Yes.
And then someone realises that the bride he's chosen is his daughter.
God bless you, my child.
And he says, God bless you at the end, then tries to run from the leprechaun and then is killed. And Leprechaun said, 1,000 years, I'll be back to pick up the most... To get to my bride. And it'll be the most recent person in that family's bloodline.
Yeah.
Which will be Bridget. And I must say, the actress who plays Bridget cannot act. Actually, not even just her. I'd say there's only a handful of people in this movie that can act.
Yeah.
So who are our main cast?
Well, we have Warwick Davis returning as...
He's still fun. I think he is still the most fun part of these movies.
I did like a little snippet we saw of the behind the scenes where he's getting his makeup done, and even he wants out the franchise.
I'm a thespian. Give me a role.
He's desperately trying to get out.
If there's any producers or directors watching, under here I'm a thespian, and I desperately would like a part without this makeup on, please.
Aside from Warwick, we have Cody, who is played by a guy called Charlie Heath. We have Cody's girlfriend, Bridget, who is played by Siobhan Durkin. And then the only other actor I've wrote down, because I think he's more of the higher caliber cast, he's actually pretty good, is Morty, who's Cody's uncle, and he's played by Sandy Barron.
He is actually fantastic.
I
think he had a guest spot on Seinfeld. I think that's why he's most. I also should probably explain. I was doing him in Paddy's Day. I don't have anything green. Not anything green that was clean. So out of season, Grinch slippers.
So we're representing
my green.
Yes.
They're very comfortable. So yeah, they're our main cast. Leprechaun is revealed when he comes out of a tree. It's actually pretty cool. I really like that. His new home is the entranceway is through this old tree. And there's a homeless man with a gold tooth there who's drinking whiskey, and he's like, Canadian whiskey, the only whiskey is Irish whiskey.
It's Irish whiskey.
And rips his gold tooth out.
Yeah.
And the Canadian. The only whiskey is Irish whiskey. Ah.
We'll just say at this point, so obviously the first movie, the entire catalyst for the plot is he wants his gold. He's tried desperately to get his pot of gold back, which has been stolen. Is the entire pot stolen in the first one, or just like... Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, he wants his gold in the first movie. The second one, he still wants his gold, but there's also the added want of a bride.
Well,
so it's basically Leprechaun wanting stuff again.
Well, he tries to basically give it as almost like a dowry to Bridget.
Yeah.
And then spills it, and Cody gets hold of one of the coins. Another bit of law change is that Cody can't be hurt if he's holding on to one of the coins.
Yes.
And obviously Cody is desperately trying to get Bridget back. There is a bit of a creepy scene where Lupton is basically saying, like, oh, you got to carry me little ones. But he's going to have to, like, carve up a face to make it look more like a leprechaun.
And also, like, the implication that she doesn't just get pregnant, like, with one or with twins. It's a litter of little leprechauns. Like, it's horrible.
'Tis a fair face, but the wee ones won't suckle if you don't look like them. They can be very demanding at times.
It's a creepy scene.
It's not easy.
We abandon the creepiness very quickly, go back to
silliness.
Being silly. When I was watching this, because I was just watching it, I was just doing some work, I had it on in the background. And you came in and you went, does it know what it wants to be yet? Because that's the problem with the first one, is it didn't know if it wanted to be a horror movie or a comedy. And I'd say this one, it definitely has a much clearer direction of wanting to go down the horror comedy route, which apparently gets finessed even more as the films go on, especially like from Free and In Space.
Yeah.
But it definitely felt like more of a cohesive tone.
I agree with that. I think this is by no means a great sequel, but it's definitely an improvement on the first. The first one is, to me, a mess. Not a hot one.
Yeah.
Either.
And I do think the kills are pretty good, even though we don't see a lot of them. Like, there's one where a character called Ian, who I have to speak about a little bit in a bit, is being tricked by the leprechaun, thinking that Bridget is standing in front of him topless, and he's about to, put his face in her breast.
He's going in for the boobs.
And he actually puts his face into an upturned lawnmower.
Yeah.
Well, we see the effects of like the blood on the wall and the shadow. We don't see him get destroyed, but that is still a very imaginative kill, and a lot of the kills in this are very imaginative. Like, look, we're going to spoil the shit out of this.
Yeah.
Morty, when he manages to trap the leprechaun and get his wishes for his pot of gold, and he ends up putting the pot of gold in his belly, and it's like that is inventive. I really like that.
I like that. It's stupid on Morty's part to wish for the pot of gold. He literally even says, "Oh, I could ask for $1 million, but no, I'm going to ask for your pot of gold."
I could ask you for $1 million, even $1 billion, but no. What I think I would like is your crummy pot of gold. Morty!
Stupid Morty. Yeah. It's stupid.
So Morty runs a sort of like sightseeing business, but
like
for
a Hollywood tour.
But for like famous Hollywood death places.
Are we in Hollywood actually? Where it's some kind of like paranormal tours, like where he gets the punters in the back of the car and he takes them like, oh, this is Bela Lugosi's house.
And it's not.
But it's not. Yeah.
It's a scam. Cody does it with him. And the film starts like Morty is too drunk to take a tour, so Cody does it, which Bridget gets annoyed at him because they're supposed to go on a date, but now he has to work. So she goes to the go-kart rink to go see her other potential boyfriend, who then thinks he's going to get some just because he bought her some corn dogs. She has great taste in men, apparently.
Yeah.
It's fair. Cody is clearly the better choice between the two. It's like, yeah, yes, like when you see where he lives, he clearly needs to work.
Cody is a nice guy.
Yeah. Can't act, but he's a nice guy.
Yes, basically, yes.
Yeah, and it's fair, and his morals are pretty much in check for the whole thing. He just wants, when he realises Bridget is in danger, that is his only goal at that point, is to get her back.
Yeah.
And he's unrelenting in that quest.
Yes.
And I think I can appreciate that in my horror lead characters.
It is a noble quest, indeed.
It is a noble quest. Clint Howard's one of the guests on this little tour, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is before he did Ice Cream Man.
This is, I think... Yes, I don't think
Ice Cream Man is something we have to look at in the future.
We will at some point. Yeah, Clint Howard, Ron Howard's brother. I don't know if he's older or younger, but I just really like seeing Clint Howard, and it's a highlight of this film. It was the first time when I walked in on you watching it that time, and I was like, Clint Howard, and then to my delight, Kimmy Robertson is in this film as well, and she plays Clint Howard's girlfriend or wife, and they're in like matching outfits. And they get taken on this really shitty tour of like paranormal stuff. But I just couldn't help but think, it is only a small part for both of them, but like If this movie focused around Clint Howard and Kimmy Robertson, I'd have been so much more invested, I have to say. Kimmy Robertson, if you don't know, she's in Twin Peaks. She plays Lucy, the secretary.
Also have to give this movie props, actually. It apparently is the only of the Leprechaun films that actually set on St. Paddy's Day.
Yes, it is. It is, which is strange considering how long this franchise is.
Yeah. It is also the last of the films for a long time to be released theatrically.
Yes.
The third film was supposed to be. So I think Leprechaun Returns, one of the more recent ones, did get a theatrical release.
It's the last installment to have a cinema release until 2014. So whichever film came out that year.
Yeah, I've not seen that one yet. When I was watching this one, I said to you, they've really missed a trick not calling this Bride of Leprechaun. And apparently that was an idea they had. Because the third film was supposed to be released theatrically and filmed back to back. And Cody, Bridget, and Ian were meant to be to follow over onto the next one. For some reason, either they weren't confident in it, or they could see that interest wasn't there. They scrapped the idea of filming them back to back, and initially scrapped the idea of a third film almost entirely, which was apparently going to be called something like The Trial of Leprechaun, or Trial of the Leprechaun. Which that is a cool name.
Good. Yeah.
It's not as cool as Leprechaun in space, but
yeah.
Ian's scenes got cut down to basically 2 scenes, but he was meant to be a much bigger character, and the love triangle was meant to be a bigger part of it that was meant to follow into another movie.
See, that's interesting, because obviously, I guess, not calling it that maybe paved the way for Bride of Chucky, that we get, 4 years later?
Yeah.
A few years later, anyway. But I still find it interesting, another comparison there is the 2 love interests in both of those films are notoriously not considered interesting.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit about Katherine Heigl and her boyfriend in Bride of Chucky either.
I think the cast, they're not incredibly interesting. I say Morty's probably the best actor. Then there's one scene which is Paddy's Day theme. Cody and Morty are running away from the Leprechaun after he hits Warwick Davis. He really gets in. They don't really have the budget for him to appear very often. At one point when he's got Bridget, he just kind of fades out. Yeah. No sparkle or pizzazz. He literally just fades. But he usually just jumps into scene.
Yeah.
So he chases them through their home, and they decide to hide in a bar. A couple of scenes I do really like here. Cody goes to the toilet, and he thinks he's been snuck up on by a leprechaun, but it's just, what is the correct word? Is it little person?
Let's go with that.
Sorry if I've got that wrong, but the actor, I can't remember his name, but he's in Bad Santa, and
we did Google it, didn't we? At the time?
Yeah, he's a really funny actor.
I've seen him appear in.
Is it Me and Irene as well? Is in the Jim Carrey film?
Potentially, yeah. I don't know, but yeah, his face is very familiar.
Yeah, he has it. He's just got this really intense stare with Cody. Even if he's not the leprechaun he thought was turned up, I don't think he's leprechaun he was happy turned up, because it's playing this really over the top creepy role.
Oh yeah,
and he's going up to him in the bathroom and asking him if he wants his pot of gold, and it's chocolate coins.
Just chocolate coins.
I'm like,
yeah, just
as a man, I would never accept chocolate that is given to me in the men's bathroom.
No.
By the urinals. I think any men out there can agree with me. It's not an ideal place to trade candy.
To trade anything, for that matter, really.
Yeah, it's not very clean. So, it's a weird scene, but I kind of liked it. And then we get back. Cody gets back to the bar, and Morty's just staring down the end of the bar for an uncomfortable amount of time. He's here, and you see Warwick Davis just at the other end of the bar, just. And I'm like, I like this. He challenges him to a drinking competition.
Yeah.
That to me is just kind of fun, and he tricks him by drinking a fake alcoholic drink that the bartender makes when he's had too much, whereas Warwick Davis is drinking the real whiskey, because he wants to try capture the leprechaun to get his wishes at this point. That's when he's decided that's what he's going to do. And I think it's a fun scene, just seeing Warwick Davis in full leprechaun makeup, drinking away, and you've got all the other little people in the background. It's in One of Us. It's maybe a reference to Freaks, isn't it, from 1935?
Drink what you want. Drink what you're able. If you're drinking with me, you'll be under the table. Come on, he's one of us. 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 One of us.
Yeah. Because in Freaks, I think what they yell is "one of us." That's the chant, "one of us."
Yeah.
One of us. Google gobble. It's weird.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they chant in Leprechaun 2, but it is a reference to it, a deliberate reference.
Yeah. But even by the end, they get bored and they all leave.
Yes, it is a good scene. I'll give you that. It plays into St. Paddy's Day, and it's also just fun to see, an actual genuine leprechaun entering a drinking competition.
Yeah.
Like it's a fun scene.
Again, leaning into the silliness a little bit.
Not a bad plan on Morty's part either.
No,
to get
it
high-eyed.
doesn't. It doesn't work.
No.
So the next time we see him, he's in a coffee shop and he's just drinking loads of coffee.
Shitload of espresso.
Which, to be fair, the kill there is because the bartender tries to kick him out and
Yeah.
ends up like killing him with the coffee machine, the steamer. Which
he gets
that was pretty
steamed.
cool. It looks a bit cheap, but it's a fun kill.
Yeah, it's a fun kill.
So then their plan is to trap him. The go-kart place, because Cody knows that there's a cast iron safe there. It's real in this film. He doesn't like cast iron, so he throws a cast iron rod at him, catches it, and it burns his arms. So say, right, if we trap him in there,
Yeah.
we can force him to give Bridget back.
Yeah.
And that's when the plan kind of goes awry, because Morty decides to make him give him wishes instead, and that's what leads to him dying.
Yeah.
And then he escapes. We get to see Warwick Davis in a little car again. Does that happen in all the movies? I'm assuming
Does
he must
he
end up in
just-
some sort of straight.
Does he always have wheels?
In Leprechaun in Space, does he have his own little spaceship?
Does he have a shuttle?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I want to know. We eventually end up in his lair.
In his tree.
In his little tree lair. Cody's found Bridget. They're running down tunnels. They keep leading back to the same spot. It's very cheap down there. Roy Davis is popping out, just doing puns. There's so many puns.
Too many puns, man.
He tries to trick him by making himself look and sound like Bridget, but Cody tricks him by giving him the coin back. But it's just the chocolate coin from the bathroom earlier.
I really appreciate how you're trying to make the sound very thrilling.
I know.
I appreciate that a lot.
And then he stabs him with cast iron, and he explodes. They walk off into the distance. He throws the coin, and there's no hand goes up to grab it or anything. The movie kind of just ends.
All
at
right,
that point.
let's just talk about that ending.
He's gonna blow!
The movie ends. It really fucking abruptly ends. It feels like it cuts off and it starts the credits like mid shot. There was definitely more filmed
Yeah.
before we just cut to black. It's so abrupt, and I've seen it twice now. It catches me off guard every time. I don't know what they cut out there, but I would like to
It must
know.
have been like hints towards what was going to be the original Leprechaun 3.
I guess.
I don't think he was always meant to go to Vegas like he does in the third film. Apparently, I was looking at Variety's list of ranking these films, and Leprechaun 3 is actually rated higher than Leprechaun 2, which is in that one is rated higher than Leprechaun 1.
Yeah.
Leprechaun 4 is meant to be the best, and either between that or Leprechaun in the Hood. That Leprechaun in the Hood, Space, and 3 are kind of the competitors for top 3. If I'm remembering that list properly, I think they actually put Leprechaun Returns quite high up there, and I know Warwick Davis didn't return for that one.
Interesting.
I might continue down this franchise, but I can't promise our audience that Sam will.
No.
I'm lucky I got a second one out of it. But would you agree that this is a better movie, that is a more consistent movie than the first one?
Yeah, it's an improvement on the first one. Just because, I guess the tone is a little bit more consistent. But I think I made it very clear in the first Leprechaun video we did. This is just not my... I don't know, I don't find a lot of enjoyment in these films. And I totally appreciate people do. I know most people consider these just, dumb fun.
Guilty pleasures.
Like guilty pleasure movies. That's absolutely fine. I get it. I have my own. But I just lose interest very quickly when I'm watching the Leprechaun films. I'm, fair enough. The only two that I've seen are maybe considered two of the worst in the franchise. But I just don't have the drive to carry it on. And I said to you, if I never saw another Leprechaun movie again, I wouldn't be mad about that. And it is a bit of a shame, but...
You only watched this one because I had it on and you came in towards the end.
Exactly. And I also just think as well, I mentioned this again at the end of the last video, but there are more Irish horrors to explore. We don't have to go all in on Leprechaun. We can branch out with maybe a few other Irish horrors come Paddy's Day.
We'll see.
That's that's my pitch. I also just wanted to point out a funny thing that made me chuckle at the very beginning. When we're back in the past, 1,000 years ago.
Yeah. When
Bridget, or whatever she's called, her counterpart.
It's the same
back
actress.
then. Same actress. I think she might have a different name. But when she realizes that her dad is dead and she screams, the camera zooms in really closely on her face when she screams, and you can see the actress's fillings in her teeth. you can see like these really pronounced silver fillings. Like, I don't think they had that 1,000 years ago.
No.
It's just so obvious.
I know for her, the scene where she goes topless, she didn't want to do that. So,
yeah, fair dues.
To be fair to them, they just brought in a body double for that shot.
Yes.
Because you never want your actress to feel uncomfortable doing anything that they don't want to do.
No.
And I feel like I need to point out whenever the movies have done the right thing.
I know. I mean, it's also, this is, well, it's, Jesus, 30 years ago, this film. So I would like to think in the 90s, like, we were getting some kind of improvement on...
Well, we know by the time we get to, like, Freddy vs. Jason, there was still disputes, even though it was in actresses' contracts.
Yeah,
not to go topless. I think they did try to convince his actress, but in the end, was like, no, it's fine. We'll get a double in.
Yeah.
It's not... So it made me think, because there's a silhouette of her, I think, topless at the beginning. I wonder if that might be the body double as well.
Maybe. I don't know. I will say that...
There's not a ton of behind the scenes on this movie that we could find.
No, there isn't. We tried to look for it. And also, Siobhan Durkin, who plays Bridget, I tried to see, like, what else she's done. Not a massive amount. Charlie Heath, I don't think his... Like, when you Google him, the main thing that comes up is Leprechaun 2.
Yeah. Chips, the actor that played Morty, passed away only a couple of years afterwards.
Yeah, shame.
He's only in his 50s.
Definitely, like, one of the better actors.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed him.
Imagine, like, him and Clint Howard in a Leprechaun movie.
And I know they've done a recall. If they were to announce a new recall that was going to release theatrically, if Warwick Davis would come back, 'cause the only reason he stopped doing it was because he wanted to make films for his kids. They're grown up now.
Yeah.
So maybe he could return to the role. Because he said, like, it's not that he stopped enjoying doing the films.
Yeah.
If they got Jennifer Aniston back, would you go see... Cause the initial plan for the second movie was that Lupton was going to be after revenge. So, here's my pitch to you. We're going to Halloween 2018 it, kind of. This could even be the plot of Leprechaun Returns, I don't know. We have it be Tori's daughter, Jennifer Aniston's character's daughter, that the Leprechaun is coming after for revenge against her. And have her have a small role in it, because let's be fair, they're not really going to be able to afford her. If that film existed, you could even bring back some of the other cast that are still around from the first film.
No, it's all right. You don't.
Would you go see that? Would you be slightly interested?
I would go and see it because I know we'd probably have to do a video on it. I wouldn't go and see it out of my burning curiosity. I'm also I'm not particularly attached to Jennifer Aniston, like in any way. I do think she's one of the stronger elements of the first film.
Is she?
I do like her in it. I think her comedy is, she's a great comedian.
She's always had good comedic timing, but she didn't have great material to work with.
No, but I think her she's doing the best with what she's got.
And that's the same with Warwick Davis in both of these films. Like the puns, everything is. He has a certain energy about him. Like he's just bouncing around that place. Like he is trying his damnedest under a lot of makeup.
Yeah.
To make this role good, and I don't think anyone can say that the Leprechaun himself is poorly performed.
No, I
do think his makeup looks a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
I also think, in regards to finales, I think the finale of the first one, when they slingshot a four-leaf clover into him and he melts away, it looked a bit cooler than stabbing him with a rod and blowing up.
Yeah.
I just think, as a whole, Leprechaun 2 is a more consistent movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just going back to that scene at the bar as well, there's a moment where I think Morty is egging on the crowd to try and get involved in the drinking game and everything. So they've got an audience, and I remember the camera pans to Warwick Davis, and he's sitting at the bar and he's just kind of watching Morty, and it's almost like he knows what he's doing. Yeah, he knows he's being taken into this game. But I just really like the way Warwick looks in that moment. It's probably the most sinister we've ever seen the Leprechaun actually looking, the most sort of scary, and he's not really doing anything. It's just eye contact, really intense eye contact. And I would have liked to have seen more of that, play into the sinisterness, the creepiness, the nastiness. Well, I guess we've seen the nastiness of the character, but yeah, make him creepy in a more sinister, nefarious way. That's what I would like to see in a Leprechaun film.
See, I like the silliness.
Oh, well, this is... Why do we do these films?
Because I knew your reaction was going to be this, and that's all I kind of wanted. It's why do we do the Howling films?
Well, I find enjoyment in the Howling movies. I actually do. I'll give you that. I'd infinitely rather watch a Howling film than a Leprechaun movie. We haven't mentioned the director.
Oh, God, yeah.
He's a man called Rodman Flender, who surprised me greatly to find out that he has a Timothée Chalamet connection.
Really?
He's his uncle.
Oh, I remember you telling me that when we were watching it.
And I was just like... it's just, like, the Leprechaun, Timothée Chalamet are just two names that I never ever would have connected.
Timothée Chalamet in a Leprechaun reboot?
Yeah, exactly, with Jennifer Aniston.
You could play her son?
That's our pitch. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Leprechaun 2.
Yes.
There's not much more to it
There's not really a lot
than this.
No.
An improvement on the first one. Not a good film, but I find a silly enjoyment in these films. Like, I'm entertained when I'm watching them, and they scratch a particular itch I have for that genre of films.
Yes.
And I am committed to be fair, it's taken me like over a year to make it onto the second film. I do kind of want to at least get, there's 5 in this box set. I think I'll make it to, where do I make it up to? Yeah, In the Hood. That's the last one I've got here. So I want to get to at least that one. Most likely on my own. So, have you got any more notes on this one?
No, I don't.
Are there any other Leprechaun fans out there? Can anyone give me their ranking of like the top 3 of the Leprechaun films? I know Leprechaun Origins, I think, is meant to be like the bottom.
Right.
The one that was produced by WWE, which is interesting. So thanks a lot, guys. Oh, also channel members. Yes, channel members. Thank you, guys. You guys know you're awesome. I will stop forgetting to include you in these.
We'll get there.
I've been using the excuse of, oh, it's strange not cut away to animated me, but it's been a while. I should be better at this by now. But thank you. I might even make a Leprechaun icon, because 2 of our members have made it to the last of the icons, the Kurt Barlow icon. So I need another icon.
Okay. Well, you have fun with that.
I will. So thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you when we see you.